In this video I'm going to be talking about how I made my experiment, which was inspired by Tom Hang's Bless the Avicii radio edit. The element of the song which I took into this experiment was the big powerful chords that I used in the drop in the build up. So in my case, this is what my sort of experiment based on that sounds like. It's a really simple drop, just based around these piano chords, which sound like this. And it's just two layers of chords. The first one is a true pianos. It's on the amber setting, just on the default, which is quite a housey piano. Got a lot of high end to it, and that's what I liked. And then we've just got this lower Nexus grand piano, sounds like this. And together it just sounds like this. In terms of post-processing on it, post-production on it, I've panned them each of the sides to make it a bit wider, and then I've sent it to a bus. And on this bus, it's just about trying to make the sound have more clarity. So I've taken all out the low end below 150 Hz. I've boosted a lot of the high end just to give it some more clarity, some more punch to it, some more click to it. I've got a compressor on it, which is just compressing it a bit, just so it doesn't, the dynamics don't go and sort of clip it or go up past dB. It sort of controls it. I've got some reverb on it, just to give it some room, to make it nice and wide. Because whenever I use a plugin, I always like the sound to come in dry. So I don't like to have reverb coming into my process change. So I like to have all my sounds dry, so I have complete control over the sound. So in this, I just have a reverb on it, a very short decay, just give it a bit of apathy, a bit of room. And then we've got some sidechain, just by Nicky Romero. Just gives it some punch. And then we've got these two little effects which I use in the song, which sound quite cool. What I can do is I can take everything out, I can show you. So one is a tape stop and a gated effect. So I've got this 1/4 gated effect. I've got a tape stop, and the tape stop's sort of closing it, and while it's closing I've got a gated effect. So it's down here at the bottom, the automation. Here. And it's just a nice little transition between the first half and the second half of the drop. That's decoding the song. Really simple sort of post-processing. And I've got these two filters on it, which I've got a high pass and a low pass. This is the low pass, and this is the high pass. And in the build-up, I use it to low pass the chords through. So it's like a bit of energy rising. But in the drop, I use it as a band pass. So I use both filters, and I have one going down, one going up, so it's like a band pass effect, just a little transition. So this one. And if you mix that with the gated effects and the tape stop, it sounds pretty cool. And it's a really simple idea, just to transition, and that's what I want. I want like really nice smooth transition between the first half of the drop and the second half of the drop. I mean, I could talk about drums now. the drums are really simple in the song. I'll just basically 4/4 kick with a clap, with a little hi-hat on one of the last beats, hi-hat on every offbeat. The close hi-hat's on the offbeat on the last beat of the bar. I've got some toms which I got from the Tropical House sample pack. And I've got a shaker, which doesn't really fit the song when you hear it on its own, but in the context of things it's quite cool. It's a bit offbeat, so it has a bit more rhythm to it. And then just before the drop I've got this little drum fill, which is again from Splice. Really simple stuff. And then on top of that I've got some effects like this. And the effects on the effects is I've just got some sidechain on it, so it sort of bounces sort of with the kick and with the song, so I can show it in. Just doing what a synth would do. It's doing what a synth would do when a drop comes in. It's just a really cool effect. So that's really it for the drop. And on top of all that, I've just got really simple bass sounds, which is just playing the rhythm of the chords. And I've just got a sub bass underneath. I don't think you'll be able to hear, but it's just a 3XL oscillator with just a sidechain on it, just to keep it moving so it doesn't clash with the kick. So that's how I made the drop. That's what the drop sounds like. And the tape stop effect happens on every last beat on every 4 bars. Again, just to transition, give it a bit of ear candy, sort of move it on a bit, give it something different. So that's the drop of this experiment, and then I've just got a build-up which sounds like this. So this is, that's the build-up. It starts off with this vocal which I got from Splice. It sounds like this. And it pitches up. I've taken the last U on the vocal and used it as like a synth essentially to pitch it up as a riser. And on the vocal I've just got some sound godizer, just to give it a bit of loudness, and it compresses at the same time. It's a weird plugin, I don't really understand what it does, but it makes things loud. I've got an EQ taking out the low end, clearing up the high end, and I've just got some reverb to give it a bit of room, to give it a bit of an atmosphere to it. So this would be the vocal without any processing on it. So it just opens up a bit, makes it a bit brighter, makes it a bit louder, just for the build-up. Underneath that I've got a snare drum fill, really simple, just as a sample from Splice. It's just, it's balanced, so it's not in the way of anything, it's just there just to build the energy. I've got this vocal riser in the key of the song. It's a sample which I've had for ages. I can't remember where I got it from, but I've had it in one of my sample packs for ages. Just really nice. It just adds something different, something else to listen to. If you hear the vocal of a girl singing, you hear something else, it just adds a bit of like mystery on what's going to happen in the song. I've got some really basic sweeps in it. So I've got this, a long sweep and a medium sweep. And then for the drum fill, I've just got this little like sub drop sort of. Take out the vocal. This drum sort of sub drop, mixing with this drum fill from the halfway point of the drop. And then coming into the drop, there's just a sweep and a reverse crash and a crash. And again, just the same effects as the drop, with the same effects on it, just so it doesn't get in the way of anything. And then the last thing I've got is this big sort of orchestral attack with a kick with a bit of attack on it and a lot of reverb. It's a really good way to sort of build up and sort of get things going. So that's how I made this experiment. That was inspired by the Avicii. It's a bit different to what Avicii made in his song, but it was just about experimenting with those sort of chords and having that as the fun, like the main element of the song, not having a lead melody on. I think it worked out pretty well. I'm really happy with it. So it's inspired by Avicii, but I've sort of gone off on my own little sort of tangent and done something different with it. But yeah, that's how I made this experiment.